What is up, Nuggets? It's your boy, Killer Pizza, here with a brand new video for you rascals and rapscallions out there. I want to start this video by wishing everybody a very happy Friday the 13th. If you are a horror fan, we all know that Friday the 13th is a great day, and it's even cooler that we get one in October this year. And I want to say thank you to everybody who checked out my Friday the 13th marathon. I actually reviewed 1 through 12. If you're just watching this video, make sure to go back and check out those reviews. So I wanted to end this on the 13th with a complete ranking of the whole franchise. I'm not going to try to make this too long. If you guys want to hear more of my thoughts, go back and watch my individual reviews. But yeah, I watched this glorious Friday the 13th box set, rewatched it, and I just want to say this is the final day of the Shocktober Day sale. If anybody doesn't own this, you can get this for, I believe, $89, which is a pretty damn good price for 13 discs. So yeah, pick this up. It was well worth it. It's a beautiful box set. But anyways, let's get right into the rankings. Okay, so I'm going to go from worst to best. And keep in mind, I just want to say this is just my opinion, my preference. So I don't want to upset anybody out there. And if I do, who gives a fuck? Fuck yeah. It's just movies. But anyways, we're going to start with the worst of the worst. Number 12 will be Jason Goes to Hell. Now, it's pretty hard for me not to put this at dead last. You know, I said in my review this was kind of an ambitious movie. I appreciate them trying something different, but just didn't work for me. You know, maybe halfway through the movie I thought, oh, if this was branded something else, it might not be that bad. And towards, you know, halfway through the second act and the third act, it just got fucking weird, and it's just a bad movie in my opinion. So anyways, moving on to number 11, we are going to put the reboot of Friday the 13th from 2009. You know, I said in my reviews that last I remembered I liked this movie, and there are some fun things in here where, you know, they go back to the origin of Jason, then they make it Sackhead Jason and him getting the hockey mask, so kind of looking over what they did through 1 through 3. And I will say Jason is pretty vicious in this. This is pretty fun, but little things like him keeping the girl captive in the basement, and the little Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 underground bunker. And mostly for me, every character in this was so unlikable. The final girl sucked. That Trent guy was completely obnoxious, and just not really many redeeming qualities. So that is my number 11. And now at number 10, I'm going to put Freddy vs. Jason. So I thought this one might go higher up in my rankings, but I got to put it right here. It just wasn't a very good movie. I think the biggest thing about it is the fact that they flubbed up Freddy and Jason. You know, you got these two iconic characters, and how do you miss on that? The fact they tried to add this like understory, the sub story, when I think it was unneeded, and I don't know, I just didn't really like it. Just the characters were lame, and just the way they talk, like the one-liners, and it was super dated. Where there's a movie like Bride of Chucky that I really like, same director, it almost looked like the same exact movie, but just done very poorly. And I don't really like how they represented Jason in this film. Just wasn't for me, wasn't as good as I remembered. And keep in mind, I will say in these rankings, there isn't really a bad Friday the 13th movie besides Jason Goes to Hell. They're all enjoyable. I'm just ranking them as I go. You know what I mean? So this is kind of my first controversial take right here. The next one, we're going to say Jason X. I know a lot of people absolutely hate this film, but you know what? When I compare it to the other New Line movies, those 4 movies are all pretty terrible. The worst in the entire franchise. And I guess it was kind of refreshing to watch Jason X because in comparison to Freddy vs. Jason, the reboot, and Jason Goes to Hell, those were all comical, but they were trying to be dead serious. At least this one, when it's comical, they're kind of feeding into it, and they know it's not to be taken serious. I don't care for a lot of the sci-fi action in it, but what I did find refreshing was we got Jason, you know, though a different look, him completely kicking ass and killing people like the way he used to in the original 8 Paramount films, and it's got Kane Hodder, so I just got to put it right there, Jason X. And next up on the rankings, we have Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday the 13th, Part 8. I thought that I really liked this one back in the day, and it just didn't really do it for me. You know, I like the 80s charm and everything. It was kind of fun in that regard, but it just moved so slow, and there wasn't really many kills, and you know, maybe besides Julius getting his head knocked off by Jason on the roof, like, there's not much more I really liked in this film. You know, it was just okay, a good popcorn movie, so Jason Takes Manhattan. And then Up next, this is one that was higher in my rankings the last time I did this. I never posted my rankings, but I had them in my head. So this is Friday the 13th, Part 5. This is fun with a lot of character actors in it and whatnot. It's got a bit of a charm to it. I like, the daytime shots. It's a very colorful movie. The kills are decent. They're pretty fun, but the fact that it isn't Jason, it has one of the highest kill counts, and it's Roy Burns, is just terrible. And, a lot of the characters in the mental institution, the halfway house, are forgettable. And one of the counselors that runs it, she's a pretty terrible final girl. I didn't really care for that whatsoever. Reggie the Reckless was pretty fun, but Tommy Jarvis in this film, especially in the Tommy Jarvis trilogy, I didn't realize how much of a pussy he was in this movie, doing absolutely nothing. Like, he kicks ass against two different people in this movie, but when it comes to Jason, he just gets kind of like taken out like a punk. And I mean, like I said, it's just an okay movie, but this is where it's going to be at in my rankings. Next up is one I felt like I was kind of hard on. I was pretty harsh on this film, but as days went on after watching, it kind of lingered in my mind, and that is Friday the 13th, Part 7. I don't care for the telekinesis kind of deal with her taking on Jason at the end with her powers and whatnot, though it's something different, but as I let it kind of rest, I realized this movie wasn't really half that bad. The teens and their partying was kind of fun, and the third act was good for Kane Hodder once again. This is probably his best performance as Jason. The look of Jason when he gets unmasked is probably the coolest. The costume's pretty damn cool. And this has some of the best stunt work by Kane Hodder, some of the best stuff that Jason does in any of the films, plus that awesome house explosion at the end I forgot to mention in my review. So yeah, Friday the 13th, Part 7. And alright guys, now we're getting into the good ones. These are the best of the bunch. I'm going to put the original Friday the 13th. I complained at first that this one was a little slow, but after watching the rest of the franchise, I learned to appreciate this a lot more. It's pretty innovative for what it did. The cast of characters were fun, and you guys hear me keep on griping about the characters, and I know that's not everything in a horror movie, but like I said in one of the reviews I did, if the characters suck, it's fine to watch them get killed, but if you got to spend 2 full acts pretty much with these characters, you don't want to be miserable. That's why I put the reboot so low on my list. It was like almost unwatchable watching those assholes. So it makes you really appreciate the original more. I actually think I might pick up the 4K of this and see how that looks. But yep, the original Friday the 13th. And now here we go. These are the best ones, the top 4. And I can flip 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 at times, but this is where I'm going to be at with my list. I'm going to put Friday the 13th Part 2. And I seen somebody on like a horror group I follow online kind of saying how boring this movie was. And it's like, that's so stupid. It legitimately got me mad. This one legitimately has the best cast of characters. Every single person in this is likable. The partying they do in the cabin, down to the barbecue, them going to the bar, just looks like people you'd want to hang out with, and you get invested in these characters. We have some of the best kills where the dude takes the machete into the head in the wheelchair. And Jenny is arguably the best and smartest final girl. And, we got to love Paul. Paul and Jenny, what a great duo. I love the final chase with Jenny. The way she tries to outsmart Jason, him jumping through the window at the end. I absolutely love this movie. And now, number 3 is Friday the 13th, Part 3. Now, 2 and 3 are pretty similar in a lot of ways, and I would want to edge out Part 3 for 2, but what made me put 3 ahead of this was the third act. This is maybe my favorite third act final girl scene in all of the Friday the 13th movies, Chris Higgins. I love the cat and mouse game they play. Watch my review on it if you want to hear me talk further about it, but it's just like the tension, how close he gets. He's so close. She grabs a knife, stabs him in the hand. He comes after her. They're just inches away. And this version of Jason, the first version with the hockey mask, is so close to ending her so many times, and she just keeps getting away, and it's so tense and feels like it goes on forever. I absolutely love it. One of my very favorite final girls. This one is amazing. Now, down to the final 2. I'm sure you guys aren't surprised that these 2 are in the top 2 like they are for a lot of other people. Part 2 is going to be Friday the 13th, Part 4. Now, if we're going for straight horror, straight slasher, this might be the best. This has a very serious tone. We have a very fun story with Tommy, the Jarvisons. I couldn't remember their damn last name, flubbing up the damn ranking videos, but from the dynamic of the brother and the sister and the mom in the cabin on one side to the other cabin with the kids partying, and them all trying to get laid. One of the horniest Friday the 13th. The fun kills in this, the fun characters. And, you know, just how intense Jason is here. The final scene with how he gets taken out. I love, what's his name, Rob, I believe, hunting down Jason with that little side story. This one is just a near-perfect horror movie. A near-perfect slasher, and I absolutely love this one. It's one I revisit every single Friday the 13th. And now finally, there can only be one. The top Friday the 13th, in my opinion, is Friday the 13th Part 6. I feel this movie blends everything that makes our favorite Friday the 13th movies good all in one. We have the right characters that you like, with a story of an adventure. It's a higher budget in this film, so it's more of an action adventure in some kind of way. We got Tom Matthews from Return of the Living Dead, one of my very favorite actors from my favorite horror movie, playing Tommy Jarvis, trying to warn all the townspeople. We got the zombie Jason appearing for the first time, kind of being resurrected as Frankenstein's monster. We got the humor. We got the kills. We got, like I said, the adventure aspect of it. We got Jason acting like a complete badass. I love how there's actual children in this. The risk factor. Even the cop who's an asshole to Tommy, you know, he's a likable character who shows sympathy towards these kids, you know. It's just all around a great movie. Epic. My absolute favorite. I love it to death. And with that being said, you know, like I was saying, I love all of these movies. Besides Jason Goes to Hell, that one can go right to hell. Highly suggest everybody picking this up. Like I said, it's on sale. The last day it's on sale is today. Go grab it. These are amazing. The best way I can kind of sum up this franchise is it's one of the most consistent. If you look at Halloween, especially Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hellraiser, they're very inconsistent. And this does have its flaws, 100%. But if you look at the original Paramount 8, as much as 7 and 8 aren't as good as Part 6, I'll say 1 through 6 really shine. But the Paramount 8 are absolutely amazing. And then the 4 New Line Cinema movies are pretty bad, but can be likable in a popcorn movie kind of way. I absolutely love this franchise. Like I said, not a bad one in the bunch. It was a pleasure to revisit these. Thank you to anybody who watched any of my reviews. I really, really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I highly suggest everybody else go back and revisit these movies, because in a lot of ways with some of these films, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is the catalyst of horror movies. This is the best. Jason is my all-time favorite horror icon, and I absolutely love Friday the 13th. Those are my rankings. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, give this channel a subscribe if you would like to. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun jazz. Yeah, let's keep on watching some spooky movies in the month of October. Let me know in the comments what your favorite Friday the 13th movie is. Other than that, Blood, Guts, Gore. I'll check you guys next time.